You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the July 22nd, 2024 special meeting of the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Welcome, everyone. I'd like to bring to order the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission special meeting today, Monday, July 22nd at 1 p.m. We'll move ahead and we'll go to doing a roll call. Sheila Mateas? Not here. Clarence Halsey? Nope, not here. Bill Gertner?
Here.
Tom Dabrowski?
Here.
Sheree Wilson here. Tracy Tillman?
Present.
Skylar York?
Present.
And Alan Snerinek?
Yep.
Here. Okay. We do have a quorum. Okay, number 3 on our agenda, approval of funding for the downtown two-way street conversion project. You'd like to go ahead and present?
Yeah, I'll introduce everyone in this project, talk a little bit about it. We do have our engineers of record here with us today, Mr. Hashem Khalil and Jeff Oldman are here today to tell us a little bit about it. But just for background, you may recall that we did put in about we added some extra money into the CCMG project this year. I think it was about 600 grand we added into it. This enabled us to go after the full 1.5 million that was available from the state. In the past, CCMG's has been capped at $1 million, and this year it was capped at $1.5 million. So we did get we got announced that we did get the full funding. Shim and Mr. Jeff or Mr. Oldman put out for bid. They did receive their bids, and as part of this process, we decided that we wanted to take the opportunity to implement the two-way street conversion on Franklin Street, which in the past we have already given it approval through the Board of Works. And we've talked about this numerous times in the past. So now we have this opportunity to buy down the cost of the implementation, if you will. There are some pieces that will be outside of the realm of CCMG, and that's what's being asked of us today. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Global to kind of come up here and talk a little bit about it. And maybe if Mr. Warner thinks or feels like chiming in, he can.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. My name is Sham Khalil. I'm with Global Engineering and Land Surveying. We are here, in fact, to discuss the project, the two-way project, and the adjustment of the alignment between 10th Street all the way to 8th Street. So the project actually consists of two-way conversion and the adjustment of the alignment. I'll be glad to answer any questions. I know that we've been talking about it for multiple meetings and multiple months, but I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Could you talk about additional parking spaces? We will not be doing rear angle back end parking. And then originally when we were going to do the street conversion, we were not going to take out the pinch. There's a pinch point and there's a misalignment at 9th Street. And we were just going to flip traffic and restripe. But really, after further evaluation, we really do need to take the time, especially with the development happening downtown and the amount of traffic that will be generated downtown. And I'll add in some other commentary. I got a call today from NICTE that says that their surface lot right now is full, and they're asking us to make sure we have our signage up because we are seeing significant ridership at the train station right as of right now, and it's not even open. That being said, hence the reason why we're here today is to get rid of that pinch point and really set that alignment back and put it back like it used to be to some extent.
That is correct. And, you know, the adjustment of the alignment will create additional parking in that block. So on both sides of that block, we'll have additional parking, which will be a net zero loss, if you will, for all the parking between 10th and 4th Street. The no backup parking is just a straight in parking, or angle parking, I should say. With the exception of the block between 9th and 8th, on the west side, I believe we will have parallel parking. That will add additional probably 3 or 4 parking lots. So in fact, we're adding parking. So it's a net positive.
As part of this project too, we'll also be cleaning up a lot of the curbs, a lot of the driveways that were never taken out. There are a few that will be taken out. That's not part of this, what's being asked today, but I just want to say we are cleaning up the curb line along the way as well.
So that the adjustment, as Mr. York said, the adjustment will actually adjust the curb line between 10th and 8th. Some of the alleyways will be blocked because they are not used right now as an alley. Some of them are pedestrian mostly, especially on the block between 5th and 4th. There's one alley that might be blocked, but the driveway or the approach for the driveway will be replaced. A lot of the sidewalk will be replaced as well, that it's not handicap accessible right now. So they are busted or, settled. So it's a huge improvement to the downtown area.
So with that, I'm going to let you go. Any questions, Jim? Absolutely.
Oh, sorry. When you mentioned the alleyways, that's just a temporary block or a permanent block?
So some of the alleyways actually are not used as alleys anymore. So they are actually for pedestrian.
Okay.
For example, the alley right by the farmer market and art space. Those alleys are used for pedestrian right now, but it's open, and we're gonna block them.
Okay.
Blocking them meaning they will be curbed up and
Correct.
turned into true sidewalk, and they will be additional parking allowed in, like instead of so they'll be curbed up. They'll still be there.
But it will have a handicap accessible ramp.
Oh.
Not a drive. Yeah.
So for clarification, right now, motorists could have mistaken that as a entryway.
That is
And
correct.
this will correct to
Yeah,
prevent those incidences from happening.
that is correct.
Okay.
I'm guilty of that by myself.
So what's being asked? Let's get into the divisions. So this was bid out separately than CCMG. This was bid as a division with an Alt 1 and an Alt 2. Alt 1 is the curb work. Alt 2 was the piano keys. And the whole division was the whole kind of betterment, if you will, to add to the CCMG. And that betterment come out a total cost of $648,592.58.
Mr. York, it's 629. There was an error in the math from the bid, so I just want to make sure that it's.
Can you give us the total?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Altman with Global Engineering. The total amount after we reviewed the bids was for addendum Division 1 with alternate A1 and alternate A2 combined is $626,805.38.
Cents.
So 626,805.38.
Okay. Would there be a recommendation of a not to exceed number for this, or would that be more appropriate
I
than
was going to say actually that in any project there is some unforeseen. You never know what we're going to find after we dig. So it's I would say not to exceed 650, just for any unforeseen issues.
Okay. What was that number again?
650. I'm sorry, 650,000.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That's only giving you a contingency amount of 21,000, right?
Correct. Give and take, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to ask our attorney a question. Okay, so we're asking for a not to exceed six, so we're still at the not to exceed at 650. That's where I was. I was like, well, probably around 650. Okay. Are you thinking that it means I will look at our professional construction management manager here? You acceptable? Okay. Absolutely.
Typically, it'd be anywhere from a 5 to 10% contingency on a not to exceed project, and this is not even quite 5%.
So good work.
So it's a very conservative ask.
Okay.
Right. And we cannot actually do any change order that exceed the 20% by NDOT or by actually the State Board of Accounts. So either way, we can't exceed the 20% change order.
Okay, so that's I'm just gonna say, is there any other questions you guys want to know about with the street conversion? Please ask. We got the engineers here, we got people here.
Yes, if I may.
I know that
No, go
I
ahead.
know that this has already been discussed. I just wanted to go back to, in regards to speaking with the business owners, and the majority of the consensus was that the majority thought that this was a good thing for their business, that there was going to be additional spacing and to enhance Franklin Street. I'm just curious, were there anyone that was opposed, and what was their feedback?
They were opposed to the rear angle parking, very much so, and that was really the main the rear. They did not like the rear reverse angle parking. They did not like that at all. We are going to have some public meetings regarding this, just to make sure that everybody knows what's going on and kind of show them, hey, here's your block. This is what it's going to look like. I have went down and talked to a lot of the owners. I won't say all of them. I've been trying to catch all of them between 9th and 10th Street, just to make sure they understand, like, hey, and they're pretty excited about having opportunity for more parking there in front of their businesses. But I didn't really hear any negatives from the reversing of the traffic. But when it came to the reverse angle parking, they did not like that. I don't think anyone liked that. So.
Yeah. I just want to make it clear, the realignment at the south end of the job is when the street went one way northbound, the lanes were shifted over to meet the two northbound lanes. So one lane would turn to the east and the other lane would continue into Franklin Street. Now that we're going back to two-way, we need to shift basically that center line curve back over to the original 12-foot lane to the west. So that's the real alignment in that first block.
Yeah. But I haven't heard any negative. I think the main issue was loss of parking originally when we were talking about it, and then the reverse angle parking. They really just did not like that. And then with respect to deliveries, there will be spacing on this. They'll come down Franklin and just come to a side street, and side streets don't really get used a whole lot with respect to parking. So we shouldn't have issues, and we were going to designate some delivery areas, if you will, with that.
Thank you.
And we will have a public meeting about this, and Board of Works. Keep in mind, there's still a process we have to go through for this.
Right. The plan, Mr. Owen, we are planning actually to send a certified mail to all the businesses, or most of the business owners, I guess, downtown, especially the building owners, to make sure that they notify their tenants and receive any feedbacks. But the plan was to send a certified letter to all, at least to the building owners and subsequently to the tenants.
Yeah. We want to make sure people know, and we want to make sure that when we do, because it is going to be a big project, there's going to be a lot of paving, to make sure that we're not the least effective of the business. So we do not want to hurt our businesses downtown. That's for sure.
Also, the plan from the scheduling standpoint, it's after Labor Day. So the plan is to actually do the actual project, the construction, right after Labor Day. So hopefully that will reduce the impact on businesses.
And how long for completion?
We are giving the substantial completion by mid-November, end of October to mid-November. And the street will be open by the end of business day. So any block that will be blocked, in case if they need to be blocked, it will have to be open by the end of the day.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so any other questions? Bill, you got any questions?
I
You've been
would
pretty
just,
quiet.
I appreciate it. Just thinking through all of this. Would you mind, and I want to respect everyone's time, but if you could kind of walk us through like how we ended up looking at this, since initially we hadn't planned, we just had planned to flip and
So
yeah.
originally we were going to flip this, and you may recall we bid it out, and I think we bid it out with our bus shut. It was a big package, and it come back at we thought it was going to hit somewhere around like I think 600 grand or 700 grand originally, and it come back at like I want to say it was like $1.5 million or something originally. So we had to break that apart, and that's when we did our bus shelter separately, and we did our sidewalks down south separately. Like we pulled it all apart and said, we're obviously not getting a bang for the buck with respect to this package. We thought we'd get a better deal. Honestly, where it came from was that we knew CCMG was coming up. Franklin Street was ready to be paved, and we knew that the ADAs needed to be replaced. We knew that the side crosswalks need to be replaced. There was a lot of pieces that were going to be replaced downtown, and it's like, well, we still have this on the books that we want to do this. Let's make sure we're taking this opportunity, and now we have this fine, almost like a match. It is a match. We have this opportunity to say we can get our ADAs done. We can get some curbs done. We can get the crosswalks done. We can get the paving done and striping all included in CCMG, which buys down quite a bit of cost with respect to the ask. This is probably the best opportunity we're probably ever going to have to make that conversion, which has been talked about. Oh man, since probably the early 90s have been talked about. But it was always the loss of parking that was the issue. And with this plan, we're gaining parking, or we're coming out at zero or loss. So this was the opportunity to really take our funds and the CCMG funds and really, I won't call it blending because that's not what we can do with it, but we can match and do a betterment and have something that's better. And the betterment is we have the opportunity to flip and get some of the stuff paid for. Does that make? Oh, I know that was a long-winded explanation.
No, that's exactly what I was looking for. I mean, so basically we had a larger project. The bids came back much higher than we anticipated. Had to break that in half, basically, right? And now we've got opportunity for a betterment.
Yep.
And also knocking off some of those things that we had wanted to do for a long time.
And honestly, we're doing it like it should be done. It's not just a flip and a restripe. Me and Tim went out and stood in the middle of the street when we first started talking about this, and that movement at 9th Street, even with a flip, is very unsafe because you're staring at another car when you're stopped. It's unnerving to some people, especially if you've never been here. I'd say it's unnerving, but also just unsafe movement. And honestly, we have the opportunity right now to really make it right and like it should be done correctly. And we really should take the opportunity to realign that curb and the street and put the alignment back in place. We shouldn't shortchange ourselves with respect to just the striping. We should make it safe. That's kind of that's where we kind of started this conversation.
Great. I appreciate your feedback and thanks for the explanation. I would say that I if I was from out of town, I would be confused driving through there, and no matter what, right? So I think it's a good thing.
Shim, do you have an additional comment?
No, thank you. But it was planned in multiple plans. The downtown plans recommended the two-way. The North Gateway recommended the two-way. There was multiple plans throughout the years in the last probably 15 years or so that it has been recommended to flip to two ways. And in fact, it was actually staged, the two-way on Pine Street and then the two-way on Washington Street and on to Franklin now. So.
couple questions. Tim, just to get at your point, because you guys have all hit on everything that I was going to ask about, but just how is it unsafe right now as a one-way street?
One of the issues is the proximity of the center line alignment the way it is from 10th Street to 9th Street. The lanes are narrower in that block. The curb moves over. The parking is closer. Right now, we're having a lot of side swipes on parked vehicles and people getting out of the car, swinging their door open right in the lane in that first block. So that's one of the major concerns that we had, was having those 2 through lanes that come down to try to get out in a turn lane on 9th Street. So what we're doing with this improvement is we're making a right turn only onto 10th Street into the new parking garage, dropping 1 lane on Franklin Street there at 10th Street before you get to 9th Street, which gives us more room for parking, gives us a little more room also as we move the center line over a little bit to the west, and then getting room for parking in front of Uptown Social and that block. So that increases that. So there's a little more parking there, a little more safe movements for people parking in that first block, and we make the pedestrian crosswalk shorter.
And by moving to a two-way conversion, we further incorporate safety issues?
Yes.
Okay. Just talk a little, and not necessarily for you, but anybody, just in terms of how does this, if we do nothing as opposed to doing something, how does this improve the overall business interest in the downtown area, both existing businesses as well as promoting new businesses?
Yeah, I can take that one. I think it helps encourage more pedestrian activity, slower traffic. It makes it easier to find businesses in our downtown so that you're not just going past them and then maybe you don't turn around, but maybe you do turn around. Maybe it's a little bit more inviting for our downtown. It also makes it easier to have events downtown. Not saying we're going to close down Franklin Street, but it does make it easier because instead of 2 blocks or a full block, you can close down certain areas and then you still got two-way traffic that's able to find a business in that next block. It makes it harder with respect to finding, I guess, those businesses. But also, I think it makes it, that's the way it was originally set up to be done, was 2 ways. And there's a reason why there's beautiful buildings down there that haven't been seen coming south in many years. Shim's building would be one of them. They're designed to be that way. They're designed to be looked at from both angles. So I think that's I think it's just going to make it a much more pleasant experience downtown. You will also be able to ride bikes downtown should you choose to do that. We do have bike lanes on Pine and Washington, but that being said, it would make that more friendly as well. I don't know if that answer.
That did, yep. And Tim, one more question for you. Skylar mentioned before that with the anticipated increased traffic flow from the garage and the overall station block project, does in the specific sense, the realignment of 9th Street, but also the overall conversion to two-way, does it address the overall safety issues as related to anticipated traffic?
Yeah, because we see a relief of the traffic using that intersection of 10th Street now, as more traffic is going to be going into the parking garage there when the station opens up. And now we've got alternate access for people. There's not going to be I think it's also going to alleviate some of the turning on 11th Street as well, because people right now are like, they're trying to come up Pine and that's a dead end. So there's a lot of changes in traffic flow, and we just see with this two-way, we're going to have an increase in safety. If nothing else too, we also are going to be eliminating a lot of deliveries parked in Franklin Street as a two-way. Deliveries are going to be limited to the alleys behind, more or less, and it's a little safer for even deliveries. If they do make the stop, they're not swinging their doors open to get out of the truck into traffic that's coming behind them. They can actually see traffic coming at them as they're pulling over to the side to make a quick run, drop off packages. So overall, this is a much safer configuration.
And then just a couple of other questions, Skylar, more for you. Who let the bid?
This bid was led by the Board of Works. We're in conjunction with Tim and myself participating in the items that you see before you today to make sure that we're getting something similar to what we bid out originally, but also making this much needed safety improvement between 10th and 8th Street.
And has the bid been approved by the Board of Public Works?
It will be approved. It was accepted by the Board of Works at our last public meeting, official Board of Works meeting. They were opened. They were from consideration, and after, if we so choose to approve this amount today, the Board of Works is having a special meeting tomorrow to formalize the approval and acceptance of, I believe, the recommendation of probably Reese Riley, I assume.
That's correct. The recommendation of award to the Reason Rally, which is the lowest responsive bid. We received 2 bids.
Yes, we received 2 bids. And then tomorrow they will have a special meeting to be asked to accept the official recommendation from the city engineer's office and our engineer of record.
And then just the dumb question is, this is within the or this is within the redevelopment TIF?
It absolutely is within our TIF. And it's absolutely a great spend of TIF money to make these improvements and create more development, to encourage more development in our downtown and opportunities for commerce in our downtown, especially on Franklin Street.
And then just one last pet peeve. Is this going to address the 11th Street traffic light that is always red and nobody's ever going there?
I'll let Tim take that.
Except for me just sitting there by myself.
This particular project,
You don't have to answer
this particular project will not address that. We're addressing that separately with Midwestern Electric to get rid of the left turn movement cycle of the eastbound Franklin from northbound or southbound Franklin to eastbound 11th Street. So that turn movement cycle will be eliminated completely, and it'll just be a permitted turn like every other intersection we have.
Just joking about Skylar knows every time I come down to City Hall, and I'm always late, and it's like, I'm late because I've been sitting there for 2 minutes on 11th Street by myself.
That, I'm sorry, isn't probably going to change. The railroad kind of has more control over the overall timing of that cycle than we do.
Thank you very much. With the answer to those questions, if the board, the commissions should choose to act on this and approve this, there certainly is a justifiable reason, both from the statutory requirements for development project and the overall enhancement of the downtown area, particularly from the safety issues that Mr. Warner has addressed.
And Alan, I will say, if I can get the approval from the mayor's office, I will try to get an emergency vehicle preemption for myself and you to get all the signals to go green as we're approaching. But I doubt if that'll happen, but I'm going to try. I'll work on it.
So the recap is, with these improvements, and you have the layouts right here, these are kind of what the blocks are going to look at. I kind of pulled this out of the full bid set, or well, Mr. Khalil did. And this is what they're going to look like. We will have some public meetings. We still have to go through Board of Works. And then ultimately, we'll have to do some really heavy public outreach to let people know. I see Mr. Barrier is on here as well. Donovan, thank you. I'm sure he will write us up an article about this, or in that we hopefully maybe with Kelly, we'll have a couple of articles about this. But the ask today, just to kind of recap, is a not to exceed of $650,000. That's the ask of the Redevelopment Commission. It would be $650,000. We would authorize the betterments to be used, I guess, in conjunction with the Board of Works, and Mr. Warner would be kind of, I guess, ultimately overseeing the use of this money to make, because it's ultimately the right of way belongs to the Board of Works.
But who's going to be making the claim once the service has been provided?
Those will probably come to us, and we would pay the bill, or we could transfer the money and they could just get paid normally. It really is up to us internally.
But the claim would be submitted by Reith Riley.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely. Yeah, it would be Reith Riley. Internally, we'll have to discuss how we handle the invoices, but Yeah, absolutely, please.
So my understanding, the contract will have Division One, and there's Division Two, that's Board of Public Works as well. But Division One, I believe, is part of the contract of the Board of Public Works. So I think, to my knowledge, the invoices will be submitted to the Board of Public Works, since the contract is with the Board of Public Works, and then subsequently, I guess, coming to you.
Yeah. Yes, but it will be Reith Riley that will be awarded this, is my understanding. Sorry, I know we're jumping the gun here, but we got to say it to get it out there. So they asked today is a not to exceed of $250,000. Oh, I'm sorry. I wish it was $250,000. $650,000. This will be paid out of our TIF, our north end and south end, a blended TIF. Yeah. Anything else I need to? Any other?
Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the two-way street conversion not to exceed 650,000 for Reith Riley. I'd like to go ahead and amend that. We're going to nix the vendor, as that has not been determined yet. Is that acceptable?
Do we have a second? Okay, I'd like to make the motion I'd like to do a second. Okay, call for roll vote. Okay. Tracy Tillman?
I'm gonna stand on my nay, my reasoning being, I am not in support of a two-way. However, but for the record, I do understand, everything that's been presented and the importance of the safety and the traffic flowing with the new development of, the garage that will be going on, Franklin Street, but mine is a nay.
Bill Gertner?
Yes.
Sheree Wilson? Yes. We don't have anyone else on one.
That's a problem. It's a problem because of the fact that on any kind of financial matter, as a general rule, but any kind of financial matter, it takes a majority of the commission. And I understand that we would have 2 of the 3 votes from the quorum today, but it's only 2 members of the 5-member commission, so we don't have the majority as related to the overall commission. So I think on that basis, this motion has to die.
I don't know what the next step is. I guess we have to recommission or redo another meeting, so we have more members. Or
Yeah, the commission can certainly address this again, maybe tweak a little bit one way, tweak another, or maybe even address the concerns from Commissioner Tillman. That in terms of what the objection that she's raising. But yes, it can always be brought up again in another time with some modification to it, even if it doesn't change the exact dollar amount.
so we can't approve we can't approve the awarding of bids without. Yeah.
You can award the bid at the Board of Public Works contingent upon the location of an additional $650,000.
Yeah, we won't do that. They won't do that. Yeah. So we'll need to have another meeting and postpone Board of Works. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's kind of where we're at.
Just to answer Attorney Sirnick's comments in regards to what my concerns were. My other reasoning is also, I think that this should have been open to the public prior to or before we were able to make these moving forward with agreeing on the amounts that we would approve as well. I would just like to hear from the public, their feedbacks in regards to this as well. I do apologize, but
Could I make a quick comment? I just want to make sure that I understand the concern, Ms. Tillman. Is it the cost or is it just the communication? I just curious.
well, originally, as I said before, it would nice to have seen that these funds be positioned or put somewhere else within the city, not necessarily Franklin Street. There's other areas that could have utilized that CBDG funds. I know there's possibly or allegedly some fundings that may come forth in the near future for other areas of the city. But I would have liked to have seen that it could have probably been put somewhere else besides there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we have an item number 4 that's been added to our agenda is meter set at the plaza.
Yeah, so I do need to get a meter set at the plaza so we can get it metered and start having hopefully events here. I have been working with the Parks Department to figure out how exactly we're going to handle that, but I do know we have the block party coming up, and that would kind of be our first event. And then tomorrow I have to go to the Board of Works as well and ask the same to the Board of Works, but it technically belongs to us, so we have to make a decision of kind of instructing the Board of Works that we're okay with setting a meter at this location. I don't know. Did I hopefully ask that correctly, Alan? And then we would, for this first year, we would basically just cover the day to day or the month to month. I think there's like $40 a month to cover it. But eventually, what I'm working with right now is the Parks Department to basically come up with a. We're in the process of coming up with a rental system, sort of like Krieger and other places that are rented out as well. Basically following those rules. So we're not on the hook for just covering events, but we do have some events that will happen, and those will give us some gauge of what is the use like. I think the block party will give us a good idea of what the use is for that. Like I don't know what a plaza, what it costs to use a space, for an event, but it would be we'll do a meter reading of before and then meter reading after, and it kind of gives us a kind of an idea of what we're using space wise, which is what we're doing with the EV charging stations as well. Sure. Yeah, I still got to go to the Board of Works tomorrow and get it approved.
Do we have a motion to approve the setting a temp meter, correct?
Yep.
A temp meter at the plaza to gauge our usage.
Motion to accept the meters for the usage at the park.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll call roll call on this.
Is there any money that's associated with that?
I don't know the answer to that yet. I don't know if it's already been approved and accepted. I don't know if they're gonna have to set a transformer, because there is a transformer in that alley right now. If there was money associated with that, I would come back to you guys to do that before I think it's okay. I think that's why we chose that location for that meter to be set right where it is, was because of the proximity to that transformer in the alley. So I can't really talk to NIPSCO without getting the approvals to know what I need. Does that make sense? Because I have to fill out a piece of paper, and Tim and I will have to do that. And then I give it to them, and I just kind of wait. Now, I will tell you, we have got the green tag from our electrical inspections, so it's ready to have a meter put in it. I just don't know what else is going to be included in that. But if there was a monetary value over the monthly, I would have to come back to you guys and request that.
We'll go ahead and we'll take a vote. Tracy Tillman,
Aye.
Bill Gertner,
Aye.
Sheree Wilson, aye. Approved.
Yes.
At this time, we'd like to open up the floor for public comments. Couldn't read.
Any public comment? Nothing online?
Okay. Any comments from the board? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Okay. Do I have a motion, a second?
Second.
Okay. Today's special meeting of the Redevelopment Commission is adjourned.
Thank you.